And I think, the reality is that performance enhancements are everywhere. 6.3% of men in the Western world have used anabolic steroids at some point in their life. 75% of men who regularly go to the gym are interested in using steroids. And so instead of doing it underground, in secret, let's do it out in the open with clinical supervision and safety.
But what are the legal ramifications of this? Because we were talking about this in the we were talking about the different drug schedules on the podcast yesterday, and steroids are scheduled, right? It's like Schedule 3.
It's a Schedule 3 substance in the United States. There are 23 countries where steroids, anabolics are legal, including in the United Kingdom for personal use. And so let's first distinguish between what is legal and what is banned. So in Olympic competition, they would say, oh, these drugs are illegal, but actually they're banned in Olympic competition. So
because there's a lot of things that are, like peptides and things along those lines that are illegal in the Olympics.
That are banned in the Olympics, but they're not. They're
banned.
not scheduled.
It's really important
substances.
because that means the Olympics decided as a sort of private organization, we don't want that, but
Right.
you can take it.
Right.
Yeah.
So legally you can take it.
So like TRT, for example, is a perfectly legal substance. It's FDA-approved. It's delivered under clinical supervision. But if you used it, you would be banned from Olympic competition.
Right.
Right. So the vast majority of compounds that are banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency are actually perfectly legal.
The UFC had a guy that accidentally took something that had DHEA in it.
Mm-hmm.
A real high-level guy, Khalil Roundtree. And he was supposed to be fighting Jamal Hill in 3 weeks. And he found out that there was DHEA in it. He informed the UFC, told them. And DHEA isn't even performance enhancing.
Yeah.
And they banned him for 2 months. So he got a 2 months. And so he missed out on the biggest opportunity of his career.
So if you go into your local GNC, 25% of the goods will contain substances that are banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency.
25%.
Yeah, so these are just off the shelf.
Right.
This is not black market. This is what you can buy in your local shopping
And then,
mall.
of course, there's tainted supplements, which is a real problem because a lot of these supplements, they use another party that puts them together for them, generally in other countries, and a lot of them in China. And these people are also making different things with these vats. They don't clean them properly, and then they mix the new stuff in it, and you easily get contamination. It happens all the time.
Exactly. And, well, that's the excuse that the Chinese government used about the 23 swimmers. Are you aware of this situation?
What's this?
So 23 Chinese swimmers tested positive TMZ, which is a heart medication, and they claimed that this was because of a...
When was this? How long ago?
Just 6 weeks ago. It was.
Oh, really?
It came out 6 weeks ago.
Oh.
The incident was earlier.
Yeah, so 2021. But yeah, the New York Times reported it.
Received no sanctions.
Yeah.
13 of the athletes went on the year's Olympic Games in Tokyo, won 6 medals, 3 of them gold. Huh. Well, they definitely did something during Beijing, too.
Yeah, well, the Chinese clearly were doing this intentionally, and the World Anti-Doping Authority, because of pressure from the Chinese state, covered it all up. And that's not my accusation. That's the accusation made by Travis Tygart, who's the CEO of the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency.
Okay, so the premise is, let's cut the shit.
Yeah.
You guys are... There's been people that do... It's like the argument for Tour de France, right? Like Tour de France, when they stripped Lance Armstrong, the next person that had not ever tested positive was 18th place.
Yeah. And if you look at the 100-meter time, so the fastest man in the world, 7 of the top 10 fastest 100-meter runners in history have had a doping violation. And the only one that's not in the top 5 is Usain Bolt.
Wow. So it's just a scam.
It's a scam, yeah.
And we've been hearing that for years about sprinters, particularly sprinters in other countries, that they're enhanced. And especially if your national pride is involved and they know that there's ways that you can kind of finagle things and get around them, and you hire doctors to test people and use masking agents or whatever the hell you do. Mm-hmm. In the UFC, they don't even let them rehydrate with IVs anymore.
Yeah, same thing in cycling. So if you take more than 100 milliliters of IV within 12 hours, that's considered a banned substance.
Well, you can't do any IVs in the UFC.
Really?
Yeah, they won't let you because of the fear of masking performance-enhancing drugs, because you could flush your system. But the problem with that is, IVs are good for you. This is really stupid. If you can make sure that a person is just doing IV vitamins, I mean, if your random testing is effective, you should just do that. Like, don't stop someone from doing something that's going to make them healthier while they're in a business that's about as dangerous as you can get without people shooting at you.
Yeah, and so the solution is not to do drug testing, it's to do health testing. Like, we want to make sure that our athletes are healthy and safe to compete. So we do cardiac screenings, MRIs, blood work to measure their biomarkers to ensure that they're within healthy ranges. And that's the core difference, right? The drug testing apparatus at the Olympics is about fairness in competition. It's not about the health and safety of athletes.